And good evening, everybody. It is 14th January 2026, and we're about around 3 weeks from pitchers and catchers reporting. There's Dwayne Martz. How you doing, Dwayne? Good to see you. I hope you're starting to feel better, buddy. I know you said you've been ill, and I know there's some crappy stuff going around, man. So hope you're starting to feel a little bit better. We're going to continue here with our 1971 project, playing some games, and then eventually moving to see how legacy mode works. We want to get this through. The other reason I want to do it too is for uh, the encyclopedia because you've got to have completed seasons. So we're going to do that. We've got some good lineups here, or good matchups, I should say. So with Dwayne here, we may do an Atlanta Braves game. We've also, let's see, we got Wise versus Jenkins for the Phillies and the Cubs. Oh, absolutely, Dwayne, man. We need you back on, buddy. We got lots of good stuff here. Just a case of just picking one. So looking at the standings right now, so we're what 22, 23 games in. In the National League West, the San Diego Padres, 15-6, 4 games ahead of the Houston Astros. The National League East, the Pittsburgh Pirates are 16-6, 2.5 up on the Cubbies. In the American League West, this one is a bit of a dogfight. So we have the Chicago White Sox and the Minnesota Twins in a tie for first at 12-9 each. But the Oakland A's, it's just percentage points really for them in second place, and no games back. And the California Angels 1 game back. So even last place Kansas City right now, just 3.5 out. And in the American League East, the Tigers hold a 1 game lead on the New York Yankees. The Tigers are at 15-5. Um, Not really much of a race going on there yet. But of course, what we'll be watching to see is what San Francisco is going to do, what Baltimore is going to do, certainly. So there we go. And there's Mark. He says, "Love me some late night Beatles." How you doing, Mark? It's good to see you. For some of us here, we got some nasty cold weather tomorrow coming, but you know what? Again, a little bit. So you just finished 1970 with Action PC. Are you going to try the legacy mode and move into 71 with that, Mark? Just curious. Just curious. Let me see. We've got a pretty good battle here. We could maybe do the Mets Astros. The Mets are 10-9 right now, and the Astros are 12-11. So 2 teams kind of contending early on here. Tigers and Angels. So lots of good stuff here to choose from. Philadelphia kind of, they're 7.5 out, but just to Fergie Jenkins tends to get beat up a little bit when we do some games with him. But just got to pick a game and play it, and hopefully folks will have some fun with it here on a Wednesday night in America. I like to be in America. Yeah. Good question. So you're gonna ease yourself into that. Okay, cool. So hopefully your 1970 replay was a damn good year. Turned out to your satisfaction. Yeah, definitely. You know what? We don't do a lot of Cubs games on here, and I like the Cubs, and I also like the Cardinals. So no horse in that race. So I don't see that St. Louis is playing today. So let's do the Phillies versus the Cubbies. Let's do that. So this could be Wise versus Jenkins. Let's get to the preliminaries and then to Wrigley Field, built for the Chicago Whales, the Federal League. This is the only surviving Federal League ballpark, and obviously it's the only ballpark that wasn't built for a National or American League club. So originally called Wigman Field, um, second oldest ballpark in the majors. So um, I got to see a game at Wrigley before the renovations, but it was just so amazing to just go there and I mean, you could really breathe in the baseball history Just absolutely incredible. And the fans are really, really super cool too. All right, looks like we're ready to rock and roll here. Let me just make sure I have sound. Yep, we got sound. We're good. We're good. We're good. All right, let's go. All right. All right, let's do it. All right, welcome to the friendly confines, Wrigley Field, the north side of Chicago, where it's the Philadelphia Phillies against the Chicago Cubs. The Philadelphia Phillies are on a 5-game skid right now, and on the flip side, the Cubs are on a 5-game tear. So Rick Wise will be taking the mound for the Phillies. 3 starts in the year for him, 1-1 with an earned run average of 3.13. This will be his first start against the Cubbies, and he'll be opposed by the great Fergie Jenkins. And Jenkins, 5 starts in the year, 5-0 with an ERA of 2.34, and this will be his first go against the guys, the Quakers from the city of brotherly love. 62 degrees here in Chicago, Illinois, and the wind speed is 10 miles per hour coming in from right field, and we do have rain falling. So Mark says moved to Chicago in 1989 to study at Second City. Oh man, that's amazing. He said lived on Grace and Addison. Had no idea where Wrigley was exactly, but your first night living there, I went to some bars, staggered around and walked, and we'll get to the rest of it. They only allow just a few comments here, or a certain amount of characters. Denny Doyle leading off here for Philadelphia, by the way, riding an 8-game hitting streak. We got to turn this off. He says, walked around the streets to the north side. Out of nowhere, there was this place. I looked up. It was Wrigley Field. Oh, that's beautiful. It's just beautiful. And I mean, so you're an actor. So, one of the things that I always loved, right? The Blues Brothers. Oh, Michael, you're not late. We're just getting started, buddy. Actually. So I usually like go live, but I don't start for a minute or 2 minutes. So you're here, man. We're just about to get started here in 1971 baseball. But I just always loved that scene in the Blues Brothers movie, right? 1060 West Addison. There it was. I mean, just you gotta love it. But just going to Wrigley, and again, I'd like to go there again now after the renovations. There's a great documentary on YouTube. Let me turn off manual entry and make sure everything else is set. But anyhow, it was just amazing the work that they did on this cathedral that will stand. It is a national historical site. I'm assuming that Fenway Park enjoys that same, and it should. So Mark continues, it was magical. No parking lot. No, right. How about it? Not set apart from the city. It was the city. Absolutely. And that was the cool thing about these ballparks. They had to be built in the city. And, we're spoiled now, like even with the retro parks and stuff like that, the beauties like PNC and Camden Yards and what have you, but you have parking lots, right? Um, Even PNC, where you walk across the Roberto Clemente Bridge, there's still ample parking at PNC, but you're going to Fenway, you're going to Wrigley, buddy, you're doing it the way they did it when these parks were built. And I love that. And Jeff Ray with us tonight. How you doing, Jeff? It is grand to see you as well. Uh, Mark says it was dark. I was drunk, a 24-year-old, and it was just me in Wrigley Field. I mean, that's perfect, isn't it? That is just perfect, man. Thank you for that story. That's what I love that you guys bring these great tales here, and that's just amazing. I love the imagery that you're creating, right there. Yep, it was just you and Wrigley Field. That's astounding. Jeff, I hope you're doing well, my friend. Let's get underway here. So, Denny Doyle on an 8-game hitting streak. He's hitting 339 in the season with a home run, 4 runs batted in. So here we go. We're about 23 games roughly into the season. Mark says this was different. This wasn't a plan. This was just the place on the corner that happened to be Wrigley Field. It was meant to be. It was meant to be. So, Stan Hack and Ernie Banks and Billy Williams and Three Finger Brown, Ron Santo, right up there, that big diamond in the sky. And they guided you there, man, drunk or not. And Hack Wilson, man, Hack Wilson would have especially loved that part. Hack used to live out there's a little apartment out here. It's a groundskeeper's place, but Hack Wilson actually lived on the grounds on Wrigley Field. So a little bit of trivia there for you. All right, let's go. We are ready. Fergie Jenkins peering in. Oh, we got to look at the starting defense. I'm sorry. In left field, the great Billy Williams. In center, Joe Pepitone. And in right, Johnny Callison. Johnny Callison seems to show up in so many broadcasts, so many teams. At first, Ernie Banks. At second, Glenn Beckert. At short, Don Kessinger. At third, Ron Santo. Catching, Danny Breeden. And Fergie Jenkins ready to go. Fergie, again, 5-0 to start the season. And let's get this ball game underway. And we got to fix all that. And this one, hard ground ball into the power alley. Lined hard, I should say. And Denny Doyle has just increased his hitting streak to 9. So another little, it's a little kind of a bug that when you're switching things around here, sometimes it does weird things. So we've got to fix that right now because that drives me crazy. Having these guys just sort of disappear. So let's fix this. I don't know why it does this. This is the first time that I've ever seen Action PC do this. So I can't stand the circle. Can't stand it. And I've never ever had to change this before, ever. All right, hopefully it goes all right here. All right, brings in Don Money now. Don Money hitting .213 with 10 runs batted in for him. And Jenkins checks Doyle at second. Doyle with 4 steals in the actual 1971 season and already has 1 in this one. Here's the pitch. Swung on Don Money. This is a little swinging butt down in front of the plate. Breeden jumps on it, but he's not going to make a throw. Don Money, too much speed going down the line there. So runners at the corners for the Phillies here looking to break a 5-game losing streak. Mark says, meaning it's not like Camden Yards, right? Says he lives 5 minutes from there. It's gorgeous. Yeah, but it was a city planning decision. Wrigley Field just happens to be where it is. Yep. We talk so much about the quirkiness of the classic ballparks, and they really, really had to be there. I've said many times, that was one of the reasons why Ebbets Field, why the Dodgers eventually needed a new ballpark. But you look at ballparks like, League Park, the old League Park in Cleveland, which none of us are alive to see have seen any games there. Or Baker Bowl in Philadelphia, that really short right field fence. But yeah, you're right. You had to, and the Dodgers, right? I mean, you had to dodge trolleys. You had to work at it to get to the ballpark back in those days. How about it? There's Aaron Reed. Welcome in, Aaron. All right. Willie Montanez, center fielder for these Philadelphia Phillies. .274 average for him, 6 home runs, 14 runs batted in. Fergie Jenkins working with runners at first and third. Top of the first here at Wrigley. Jenkins deals. Montanez bunts foul, first base side. All right, doing it again. So Montanez trying to somehow get Denny Doyle in here. Here's the pitch. 0-2 pitch, and Montanez swing and a miss. So 1 out. Jenkins not out of the woods, though, here, as brings up Darren Johnson, first baseman, hitting just .153. So, but 2 home runs, 8 runs batted in. Oh, happy birthday. God grant you many more years, Aaron. Great to hear. Jenkins deals from the stretch, and Darren Johnson swings. Little foul tipper, and Breeden holds on for out number two. Jenkins on the verge of getting himself out of a little jam here as the number five hitter comes up. Ron Stone, he's hitting 306, 9 ribbies. Jenkins from the stretch, and he does it. So Fergie Jenkins, what a performance. The Philadelphia Phillies leave runners at the corners. Despite getting 2 hits, we go to the bottom of the first. The Phillies nothing, and the Chicago Cubs coming to bat. In left field for the Phillies, we got Ron Stone. In center, Willie Montanez. And in right, Roger Freed. From first to third, we got Darren Johnson, Denny Doyle, Larry Boa, Don Money. Behind the plate, Tim McCarver. And on the mound, Rick Wise. So Rick Wise on the season, a 3.13 earned run average, 1 win, 1 loss. He's worked 23 innings. He's averaging 5.1 strikeouts per 9 innings and 2.7 walks. Don Kessinger, shortstop, leads it off here for the Cubbies. 239 average for him. All right, Wise ready to deal. 1-1 pitch. Kessinger, little bounder out there to Boa. It's short. Boa with a good strong throw. Kessinger, good speed going down the line. But Boa able to nip him. Score that one 6-3. 1 up, 1 down now for the second baseman, Glenn Becker, hitting 350, a home run, 6 runs batted in for him. Mark says, and sadly, Wrigley has changed so much. He said when he moved there, it was the first year with lights. Yep. There are a few bars that drape the streets near the park. Now it's a destination, a Disney World park. Yeah, it's that. And I'm trying to remember, and you would probably be, having been there, Mark. So at that time, I think in 1989, you could still watch ball games, right? I mean, people were still, without paying like an arm and a leg on those brownstones out there, right? Beyond the field, and so yeah, I mean, it's. I'm still glad the Grand Dam is standing, my friend. For all of that being said, though, but I love the narrative, man. But you're right, it has, but still, what a beautiful ballpark it is. Just for as great as the retro parks are, and they are, I love PNC Park. It's beautiful. I've been to Camden Yards. Nice ballpark. There's just something about the classic parks, though, that the retro parks will never capture. And part of that is that history that's in the grass, that's in the infield, right? It's great. Yep, they were just where people lived, and that's key. That's absolutely key, Mark. All right, here's the pitch to Beckert, and swings this one. Ground ball, but Darren Johnson feeds it on to Rick Wise. 2 up, 2 down here for Chicago in the bottom of the first inning. Brings up the great Billy Williams. Billy Williams hitting 325, 10 ribbies, 2 home runs for him. There's absolutely no artifice, absolutely. Wise deals, Williams swings, and Larry Boa leaping grab there at short, and that will do it for the Cubs. So no runs, no hits, no errors. We go to the top of the second inning here at Wrigley Field. No score. All right, it'll be Freed, McCarver, and Boa due up for the Phils. Roger Freed hitting 239. He's batted in 6. Jenkins deals. Fly ball to Pepitone out into center field and calls for it, makes the grab. 1 up, 1 down now for the catcher, Tim McCarver. Hitting 209, 12 ribbies, and he has a round tripper. Jenkins deals 1-1 pitch. Fly ball deeper to center. Pepitone backpedals on that and reels it in. 2 up, 2 down. And here's Larry Boa now. Switchy batting left against the righty Jenkins. Boa hitting 256 with 4 runs batted in. Rick Wise waits on deck. Here's the pitch from Jenkins. 1-1 pitch. Line drive. Base hit into right field. Johnny Callison up with it. 3rd hit for the Philadelphia Phillies. And here comes Rick Wise. Mark says now they would probably charge a home run listening fee for living in the neighborhood. I know, it's sad. I mean, and at one time, right, people would watch games. So there was a story, I guess, and whether, I'm not sure if it's apocryphal or not, but apparently a woman living in one of these brownstones was watching the game. was watching the Cubs game, and Dave Kingman was at bat. So she's watching it. So, of course, you've got that classic, from behind the pitcher view, right? That center field camera. So it was a pitch. Kingman hit it, boom, right? And she's watching it, and it goes right through her window. I mean, he knocked it way out of Wrigley. I don't know which building it was. Now, whether that's just some urban legend or not, but if not, how amazing would that be? You're watching a baseball game, and all of a sudden that baseball that you're watching on WGN is now smashed through your window. But if not, just what a great story it is, right? Either way, what a great story. All right, here's Rick Wise doing a pretty good job hitting this year. He's 2 for 7 overall, so 286 average with a run batted in. Larry Boa on at first. Jenkins brings it. Nope, throws over. And Boa gets back ahead of Ernie Banks' tag. Jenkins comes home with it. And base hit into left field and turning on the Jets and getting into third base. Good speed there is Mr. Larry Boa. So, by the way, Boa with 4 steals this season. All right, so Philadelphia with its 4th hit, and we go back to the top of the order. Denny Doyle now with a 9-game hitting streak, led off the game with a double. Jenkins brings it. Doyle up the middle, base hit, and Doyle will have himself an RBI as Larry Boa scores easily on the play. Rick Wise will move to third. All right, 1-0 Philadelphia brings up Don Money. Last time up, infield single. So Jenkins got out of a serious jam in the first, now gives up a run here. Here's the pitch, and base hit up the middle. Don Money and Wise will score. Doyle will move to third on the play. All of a sudden, the Phillies now 2-0. All right. Here's Willie Montanez struck out. So here we go. Last time up. Fly ball to shallow right. Banks out Callison in. Callison will make the catch for the final out. But the Philadelphia Phillies get 2 runs on 4 hits, no errors. And we go to the bottom of the second inning here at Wrigley. The Phillies 2 and the Cubs nothing. And that will bring up Ron Santo, Johnny Callison, Joe Pepitone. Mark says, even with whatever's changed, I'm sure there's still no better place to watch a baseball game than Wrigley Field. Have to agree. And I'm saying that as a Pirates fan. And as much as PNC Park is beautiful, and it's a gorgeous ballpark. Again, it's in that grass, and it's in the ivy. It's the whole thing. Traditions like throwing the home run ball back. I mean, how many clubs have adopted that Cubbies tradition? So good stuff. Now, a Red Sox fan may disagree with you, but either way, it's so cool. But it just blows my mind to think that the 3rd oldest park in the majors is Dodger Stadium. That's crazy. All right, here is Ron Santo. Santo with 4 home runs, 14 ribbies, a .333 clip thus far. So Rick Wise staked to a 2-0 lead and helping his own cause. Let's go. 2-0 pitch. Ron Santo, soft liner right to Larry Boa. 1 up, 1 down. And here's Johnny Callison. Callison hitting .263, 6 ribbies for him. Rick Wise winds and fires. 1-0 pitch. Fly ball to right, but Fried diving catch and all the way on the grass. Beautiful play out there by the Phillies right fielder. All right. So 2 up, 2 down now for Joe Pepitone. He's hitting .318, 5 homers, 17 runs batted in. Wise 0-2 pitch. Pepitone skies it to right, and Roger Fried will bring it down for out number 3. So the Cubs go in order. We go to the top of the 3rd inning. Philadelphia leads Chicago 2-0. Mark says, but he's lucky that in 1989, when he moved there, it was the last gasp of authentic. It was so much fun because they made the playoffs that year for the first time in a while. So, Mark, here's something you probably already know, but maybe others don't. You mentioned about the lights. So Wrigley Field was actually ready to install lights 30-some years prior to when it actually happened. They had the lights all ready to go. But because of this little thing called World War II, all the original lights were donated to the war effort. But they were actually they were going to do it. But there you go. So that a little trivia for folks that might not know that about Wrigley. Loving the stories you're sharing here, Mark. This is such a great ballpark, and and the Cubs are just such a fun franchise. They really are. So Mark says Fenway's a dump. Says the inner part of the ballpark reminds him of what a 19th century prison would look like. Oof. All right. Never been to Fenway, so I do know that it was 1,500 steps. So, Ken Casey from Dropkick Murphys, they had reopened McGreevy's third base saloon. But of course, because of that virus thing that kept us locked down, they actually had to, they ended up closing it, but they modeled it exactly. Pictures, everything, based on Ned McGreevy's third base saloon. So I do know that about Fenway, and it also opened on the same day, I believe, that the Titanic sunk. So maybe that explains a lot of things. Dark and dank, smells like mold. Yeah, maybe they need to do a little bit of renovation up there at Fenway too. I still hope that ballpark will stand too, and I'm pretty sure it's probably on the National Historical Register as this one. But the documentary for this, for the renovations they did at Wrigley was absolutely incredible. And it was a major, major piece of work. Darren Johnson is nothing for one. So it's going to be Johnson, Stone, and Fried do up for the Phillies. Darren Johnson struck out last time. Jenkins, 2-2 pitch, and Darren Johnson goes down on strikes. And he was caught looking on this one. So a little fastball there by Mr. Jenkins. Field is gorgeous, but the inside horrible. Mark saying about Fenway Park. And then, of course, Yankee Stadium doesn't count. The new one. It's not the house that Ruth built. Ron Stone struck out back in the first. Jenkins deals, and Ron Stone's going to go down swinging. So Fergie Jenkins has fanned 5. And here comes Roger Fried now. So Fried flew out to center back in the second inning. Jenkins has the sign from Breeden and the 1-2 pitch. And this one dropped third strike, but Breeden fires onto Banks for the 2-3 putout. And that will retire the Phillies. All right, we go to the bottom of the third. Phillies 2, Cubs nothing. And it will be Ernie Banks, Don Breeden, and Fergie Jenkins do up. Ernie Banks has a home run, 3 ribbies, hitting .333. So we're near the end of Ernie Banks' career here. 1-2 pitch. Banks fly ball into left field. And Stone out there. Ron Stone making the catch. Actually, Billy Williams, too. So both these guys, great players, never got to a World Series. There's Danny Breeden, .273 average with a run batted in. I think Billy Williams retired before Ernie Banks, if I'm correct on that. Wise deals. Breeden swings and misses. Strike 3. So Rick Wise, a little bit of an off-speed action there. Gets his first strikeout. It was Fergie Jenkins. He's hitting 125. Fergie has a home run. 2 runs batted in. Rick Wise deals. 2-2 pitch. And Fergie Jenkins, swing and a miss. So no runs, no hits, no errors. We go to the top of the fourth. Philadelphia leads Chicago 2-0. Tim McCarver will lead things off. Larry Bowa and Rick Wise. So McCarver flew out to deep center back in the second inning. Jenkins winds and deals. First pitch swinging by McCarver. This one popped high on the third base side. Ron Santo over there in foul territory. No, it is fair, and Ron Santo drops the ball. So score that one E5 as we look at the replay. And Santo making his 3rd error of the season. And because of that, Tim McCarver is in scoring position. Larry Bowa now 1 for 1. Rick Wise waits on deck. Single back in the second. Philadelphia threatening here. Jenkins deals. Bowa swings. Bounding ball to Kessinger. Up with it. Over to Ernie Banks. They're going to get Larry Bowa, and they're going to look McCarver back to second. So 1 away now for Rick Wise. Rick Wise singled back in the second. And the pitch. 1-0 pitch. Wise grounds it to Santo. Santo to Banks for out number 2. McCarver remains in scoring position. So Santo, hoping they get Doyle out. But Doyle, again, 9-game hitting streak, 2 for 2 today, so a double to lead off the game, and the RBI single that scored Larry Boa. As Mark wishing Aaron a happy birthday. Here's the pitch. Doyle swings. The man's a machine. Base hit up the middle. RBI as Tim McCarver will score from second. So Denny Doyle lighting it up today. All right, here is Don Money. Perfect 2 for 2 infield single. He also has an RBI that scored Rick Wise back in the second. So Doyle on at first. And he does have one steal in this season. Jenkins brings it home. Fly ball. Pepitone back near the track. Makes the grab. But the Philadelphia Phillies tack on another run. 1 hit, 1 error. 1 man left on. We go to the bottom of the 4th inning. The Phillies lead the Cubs 3-0. The Phillies at 7-12 right now. And the Cubs at 13-8. All right, we're back at the top of the order for the Cubbies. Kessinger, Beckert, and Billy Williams. Kessinger grounded to short back in the first. All right. So switch hitter in the box. Lefty against Wise. Here's the pitch. 1-2. Kessinger. Weak little grounder to Doyle. And a little underhanded toss there to Darren Johnson for the 4-3 putout. 1 up, 1 down for Glenn Beckert, who grounded to first. Back in the first. Rick Wise brings the 2-1 pitch. Great play by Larry Boa, ranging far to his left and making the snap throw to Darren Johnson. Score that one 6-3. 2 up, 2 down now. Billy Williams lined to short back in the first. Here's the pitch, 2-0, and liner to second, and that will do it. The Cubs, once again, go in order. So the Philadelphia Phillies on a mission here to break that 5-game losing streak and break the Cubs' 5-game winning streak, and thus far, 3-0. All right, the number 3, 4, and 5 hitters due up here. Willie Montanez will lead things off here. Montanez is 0 for 2. Jenkins deals 1-1 pitch. High fly ball, but not deep. Out to Johnny Callison. Back about 5 steps and traps the horse hide in his glove. 1 away. Darren Johnson, nothing for 2. Whiffed twice against Fergie Jenkins. 0-2 pitch. How about he whipped 3 times against Fergie Jenkins? So 2 away. Here's Ron Stone. Will Ron Stone strike out 3 times? Indeed, he will. There we go. So, wow. How about that? No runs, no hits, no errors. We go to the bottom of the 5th inning, and the score remains 3-0. David Baseball Demo is joining us. He said Banks last year was 71, right? Okay, yep. So Billy Williams was 76. Okay, so I had it opposite. I thought for some reason Billy Williams had retired before Banks. So, okay. And Billy Williams, his last year was with Oakland. All right. Still seeing 2 great players here. Of course, neither Banks nor Billy doing much in this ball game. So that's what we'll say there. David, hope you're doing well, man. Great to see you as always. And Mark says the other day he was talking about the fast-paced chef for guys like Ernie Banks, Billy Williams, etc. Talked about it on James Cass' podcast, Tabletop Sports. Check that out, man. Definitely have to check that one out, man. Thanks for letting me know, Mark. Yeah, that's just incredible. You think about how many great players, and you could almost make a league, right, of great players, or just make two teams of consisting of great and very, very good players that never made it to a World Series. So you already have one team already made up for you in baseball history, the 2001 Seattle Mariners. But yeah, I think about guys like Ralph Kiner, again, Billy Williams, Ernie Banks. So many great players in baseball history. Never got the jewelry, man. Never got the jewelry. So David says he's having fun getting back to payoff pitch with the 1972 Steve Carlton replay. Excellent stuff. Nothing wrong with a little lefty action. Mark says, guys who are aging when I discovered the sport. All the amazing players from the 1960s. I'm sure there are guys now who love the current players but don't know much about Ichiro, Pujols, etc. The history of the sport is amazing. I've always maintained, Mark, that there is none of the, I don't care. I mean, not just the American team sports. I don't think there's any sport in America that has the history of baseball. And I don't want to start sounding like the Ken Burns documentary, but it is truly so much just woven so beautifully into the tapestry of the history of America. All right, Ron Santo, nothing for one, line to short. So Cubbies looking to get something going here against Rick Wise. 1-2 pitch, and the Cubbies break the no-nos. So we can finally speak the taboo. So the no-hitter broken up here in the bottom of the fifth inning as Ron Santo lines a solid single up the middle. Here's Johnny Callison now. Nothing for one. It's the simplistic beauty of the game. Indeed it is. And it is a beautiful thing. Billy Crystal talks about it, right? In the documentary. He says you walk out and, I mean, just how that fit. They are. I don't care whether it's a single A park or just some old ballpark or you're in whatever it is. It's Bob Costas that talks about it, because I remember him saying, and God forbid that we don't encourage them, even, right, the cookie cutter stadiums. They're beautiful. It is a beautiful game. It's simplistic in its beauty, but baseball is such a difficult sport. It just looks easy. And yes, we do sound like Ken Burns. How about it, Mark? We do. And that's cool. And Beatles Burns eternally. Well, it's got to be Beatles Mark Burns series eternally. But how you doing, Mick? Good to see you. David says, you sound like Ken Burns documentary as long as you channel your inner chancellor, right? There you go. All right, Callison. And Johnny Callison now walks on 4 straight. So Rick Wise loses a no-hitter to a line drive single by Ron Santo and then walks Johnny Callison on 4 pitches. Joe Pepitone up there flew out to deep right center last time up. 2-2 pitch. And this one is going to go all the way to the corner, extra bases. Santo will score, and they will not send Callison. So, but the Cubbies break up the no-hitter, and they put a number up here. Joe Pepitone with an RBI double. That's his 5th double of the season. Here's Ernie Banks flew out to left center. 2 in scoring position, nobody out. And here come the Cubbies. From the stretch, line drive base hit to right field. Callison will score, and they're going to hold Pepitone in third. So the Cubs chipping away here. It's 3-2. So Mark asked, have you ever snuggled next to a loved one at a football game? He says, let me back up here. He says, my wife will smile, grab my arm, and put her head on my shoulder at a baseball game. How about it? That's, he says, might be because that's where we fell in love. Well, but I think it's because of the pastoral beauty of the game. Maybe a nice combination of both, huh? So David says he actually enjoyed the Ken Burns Civil War series almost as much as the baseball. For me, I think, and I know everybody's talked about the war and all these other things. I think Ken Burns' crowning achievement is he's still with us. So many great documentaries. The Civil War is just incredible. Baseball, he did well. There was a couple errors in it. But it was really, really good, and I loved it. My favorite inning of that is, I think is that the 4th inning? No, it's the 5th inning, Shadow Ball. That's incredible, just incredible. So yeah, big Ken Burns fan here. I wish he would do a documentary on the First World War. I know there's been some great British and French documentaries on it, but our involvement there, and America's involvement, 110,000 casualties in just 10 months. So that's twice that. It's 110,000. Yeah, but it was a very formative time for America too, First World War, and I think he would do an amazing job with it. It's the war that changed everything. The baseball documentary was better, Mark says, so he's agreeing here with David, and that's all good. Civil War put him on the map, but gave too much time to Shelby Foote, a Southern apologist. Okay. All fair and all good. I think they're both fantastic. I don't think that Ken Burns And that style, the Addams Family here, just that style too of the documentary that he did. I love that, where you didn't have people just looking at the camera as they're talking, but I don't know, I liked it. I really like Shelby Foote as a writer. I've read I think they're excellent books. He was an excellent writer. I thought it was cool too that he was included in the baseball documentary, if only because he got to meet Lou Gehrig, and saw Babe Ruth and what have you. So, but good stuff nonetheless. Um, so can't forgive Field of Dreams for getting Joe Jackson's batting and throwing sides wrong. Accuracy matters. Well, but at least Ray Liotta looked a hell of a lot better hitting the ball than somebody like William Bendix or John Goodman. So how is it that arguably the greatest player in baseball history, every movie made about the two big movies made about him sucked? The best portrayal of Babe Ruth was in The Natural, The Whammer, even though he was batting right-handed. Joe Don Baker, you got to give him some credit. He played he could have done a Babe Ruth, and it would have looked pretty good. His swing was not too bad, but man, William and poor Babe Ruth. I guess they screened that 1948, right? So 2 months before Babe Ruth, goes to the big diamond in the heavens, the poor man is dying of throat cancer, and they subjected him to that William Bendix movie. Good God. But I think Ray Liotta, though, even if they got it wrong, I'll tell you another guy that looked good too was well, of course, Kevin Costner, in his baseball, but Robert Redford in The Natural, man. You look at Redford, man, he looks like a baseball player, swings the bat like a baseball player, throws. I guess Redford did a lot of training for that movie. So Mark says, so Shelby Foote's a great writer and a great orator, but the Southern apology stuff hasn't aged well. True. I have to say, that one of the cool things that he did, and I'd love to just have a history chin wag some night, Mark. So when he was talking about William Faulkner, right, and of course Faulkner, right? If you read Faulkner, and I mean, let's say maybe Sound and the Fury, right, his masterpiece, but really, he if you look at Flags in the Dust or retitled Sargeras, Faulkner, and I like that Shelby Foote talked about that, that Faulkner kind of struggling. He said, for every Southern boy, there is that moment right there on the third day of Gettysburg and all that. And I love the illusion of William Faulkner. He's one of my favorite American writers, along with F. Scott Fitzgerald and John Steinbeck, as far as capital L literature goes, and American writers go. Tolkien's my favorite writer of all time, but I don't know. I did like the literary illusions. They were beautiful. All right, and Rick Wise working out of the stretch. Pepitone at third, 2 in here for the Cubs. It's become a ball game, and Breeden will go to third. Boa to Doyle to Johnson, and that's going to be a double play, but Joe Pepitone will come in to score, and the Cubs tie it up here in the bottom of the 5th inning. All right, here comes Fergie Jenkins now. He is 0-for-1. Here's the pitch. 1-2 pitch, and Fergie will go down swinging to end the inning, but the Chicago Cubs break up the no-hitter, and they do it in style. 3 runs, 3 hits, no errors. We've played 5 here at Wrigley Field, and we are knotted at 3, the Phillies and the Cubs. It'll be Roger Freed, Tim McCarver, Larry Boa due up. Freed last time up struck out. Fergie deals, and this one grounded past Kessinger into left. Base hit. So Philadelphia Phillies picking up hit number 8 in the game. Brings up the catcher, Tim McCarver. So he was safe last time on an error. Jenkins deals, 1-0 pitch. Long fly ball, center field. Pepitone has it just short of the track. So Freed getting back to first. 1 away now. Larry Boa up. 1-for-2, grounded out last time up. 0-1 pitch. And perfect room service bounce to Kessinger on to Banks. So good play there. And on the play, though, Freed with good enough speed will make it to second. Runner in scoring position for Philadelphia, looking to break the tie here. Rick Wise, 1 for 2. Jenkins deals 2-2 pitch, and Rick Wise comes up empty. 9th strikeout for Fergie Jenkins. We go to the bottom of the 6th here. Chicago, Illinois on the north side. And I think I see Mark walking out there. Sharing a great story about Wrigley, guys, so go back and check it out. Great stuff. You and I got to talk sometime, Mark. We're just going to get on here and have us a history chinwag, what have you. I think it would be a lot of fun. A lot of fun. And we'll have like maybe 3 people here, but that's okay. All right, so Kessinger has grounded out twice. Maybe David will join us as well. Grounder to Denny Doyle. Doyle to Johnson. Score that one 4-3. 1 up, 1 down. Here's Glenn Becker. He has also not gotten the ball out of the infield in 2 attempts. 2-0 pitch, and he does here. Stroked into left. Solid base hit. Hit number 4 for the Cubbies now brings up Billy Williams. And the Chicago faithful, one of the great Billy Williams, to get something going. He's lined out twice. So making good contact, but gloves get in the way. 1-0 pitch. And fly ball into shallow right field. Doyle going out, but Roger Freed calling him off for out number 2. All right, here's Ron Santo now, 1 for 2. Broke up the no-hitter, 0-2 pitch. And Bo is going to go the short route, and that will retire the side. We go now to the top of the 7th inning. And it is 3-3. Denny Doyle, 9-game hitting streak and 3 hits today. We're at the top of the order for the Phils. So Denny Doyle, Don Money, Willie Montanez due up. So what kind of hits did he have? Well, 2 of them were RBI. So the big hit was the double as far as bases go, but 2 RBI singles in this game. Fergie Jenkins deals 2-1 pitch, and he's going to be out for the first time today as Denny Doyle will fly out to Billy Williams. Soft little fly ball out there to left. All right, 1 away. Here's Don Money. Don Money in the game, 2 for 3. Jenkins deals. Money swings in the first pitch. Routine fly ball, center field. Joe Pepitone will track it down for the second out of the inning. All right, here's Willie Montanez. Montanez, nothing for 3. Jenkins deals, 0-2 pitch. Fly ball, Callison back up, and this one is way gone. This one, I think, probably that ball had a stewardess aboard, or I'm sorry, a flight attendant, I should say. So how about that? Montanez goes yard on Fergie Jenkins. Philadelphia recaptures the lead here in the top of the 7th. It's 4-3. Darren Johnson has whiffed 3 times today, so Fergie looking to bear down. 1-2 pitch, and he does. 10th strikeout for Fergie Jenkins. 7th inning stretch time here in Chicago. Philadelphia Phillies 4, Chicago Cubs 3. We'll be right back. And we are back. All right, bottom of the 7th here for the Cubbies. It's going to be Callison, Pepitone, and Banks. So Chicago looking to answer the tiebreaker in the top of the 7th. Callison is nothing for 1 with a walk. Rick Wise deals, 2-2 pitch, fly ball center field, and Johnny Callison answers. This one opened the window, Aunt Minnie, gone. Gone with the wind. And it's 4-4 since we have a little bit of a Civil War theme going on here. Mark, thank you for coming in, man. Great dreams, brother, and hope to talk soon. All right. Here's Joe Pepitone now. He is 1 for 2. We are knotted at 4. Cubs want to extend their winning streak to 6 games, and Philadelphia wanting to snap a 5-game losing streak. Wise deals, 0-1 pitch. Pepitone skied in the infield and played pretty much routinely there by Danny Doyle. David says if I went player photos and ballparks for your 1920 season action PC, who or what is your best resource? APC community, David. And you know what? I know 11 folks are watching, but what comes first is not the game, but the community. So I'm going to show you where you can get so many ballparks and everything like that. APCcommunity.com. I can give you tons of ballparks and stuff too. But if we go to baseball and go to images, you're going to have all kinds of stuff. It's ridiculous what's in here. So first, as far as ballparks, you've got these painted ballparks, which are nice. They're done by Gary Grigsby. But there's also, I believe it's Mark Shaw, who does every day on Facebook, hooks up. So there's Lance Power's ballpark images. There's a ton of ballparks right there. Everything downloadable right there. So you see for 1920. So what I would suggest is actually in the Action PC forums themselves and the Out of the Park forums, there's a guy named Cheech. And he's been curating photos for ages and ages and ages. And that's where I get my player photos, is actually from there. But as far as ballparks, this is a great one. Now, the other thing that you can do, David, but I don't know that you have Pocket Pennant Run Baseball. So Pocket Pennant Run Baseball has all the players. And they're actually like broken down by year, which is really nice. The only thing is you would have to change the naming convention and the options in Action PC Baseball. Oh yeah, Cheech is really, these pictures that you're looking at, these are older ones from Cheech. So now he's like, removing the backgrounds and stuff. I like the backgrounds in there because they look more like baseball cards to me. But yeah, his stuff is good. And again, you can find them either in the Out of the Park forums or Action PC. Doesn't matter. They work in both games. And the ballparks, APC community. But I also believe in the Action PC forums, Mark Shaw's ballparks are there too. So just make sure you got some gigabytes, because the ballparks take up a lot of hard drive space. All right. Ernie Banks batting with one down, and Banks 1 for 2. Count full, and Rick Wise loses Ernie. So here we go. Potential go-ahead run on for the Chicago Cubs as Danny Breeden comes up now. Grounded into a double play, but Joe Pepitone did score on that. That was back in the 5th. Rick Wise with the 1-1 pitch. Base hit right field, and they're going to stop. I think they're going to stop Ernie Banks there at second base. All right. So Breeden with the single, 2 on, 1 down for the Cubs. Here's Fergie Jenkins, 0 for 2. Are they going to go to the bench? Fergie has fanned twice. They are looking bunt. And Fergie Jenkins strikes out. Oh, the crowd did not like that. So 2 away. Will Chicago let a golden opportunity go by the board? As we swing around to the top of the order, Don Kessinger is 0 for 3. He is grounded out in the infield all 3 times. McCarver out to have a quick word with Wise, now back behind the plate. And Don Kessinger, strike 3 on a little curveball action. So Chicago does pick up a run, could have gotten more on 2 hits, no errors. 7 in the books here in Wrigley. We are knotted at 4. Good ball game here thus far. Philadelphia 4-9-0. Chicago 4-6-1. Philadelphia is stranded 6 and Chicago is stranded 3. Jenkins will now face Stone, Fried, and McCarver. And he has had Stone's number here today. Ron Stone is whiffed 3 times against Fergie Jenkins. Here's the pitch. And this time, grounder, Beckert ranging to his right, barehand throw on to Ernie Banks with a 4-3 putout. 1 up, 1 down. Roger Fried singled back in the 6th inning. Here's the pitch. 1-2 pitch up the middle. Beckert again. Look at that. Roger Beckert thinking that he's Rogers Hornsby out there. Glenn Beckert. But anyhow, there you go, Glenn. Get your name right. 2 up, 2 down. Had Rogers Hornsby on the brain there for a second. Tim McCarver, nothing for 3. Jenkins deals 1-1 pitch. And this one high. Popped into left field. Billy Williams has it for out number 3. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning, and we are still knotted at 4. Here in some Action PC Baseball 1971 project to play some games and then move ahead and eventually move into legacy mode and see how 1972 plays out. Remember, guys, you don't have to own every season in Action PC. Legacy mode will work if you own one season. It will work if you own them all or whatever. So we want to see how it's going to work, and I've had some people tell me that it's pretty fun. So, all right, back to the ball game here. Glenn Beckert, Billy Williams, and Ron Santo, the 2, 3, 4 hitters due up for the Northsiders. Rick Wise peers in, has the sign from Tim McCarver. The wind in the 1-0 pitch. Hard ground ball, base hit past Boa into left field, and Beckert is aboard. Beckert has yet to steal a base this season. He actually stole 3 in 1971. There's Billy Williams now, nothing for 3. Crowd on their feet here at Wrigley. Wise deals 1-2 pitch. Billy Williams lines it right to Larry Doyle. So 1 out. Billy Williams looking very frustrated as he goes back to the dugout. Here's Ron Santo, 1 for 3. Wise looking a little tired out here. We'll see how long Philadelphia stays with him. And he loses Ron Santo 4 straight pitches. 4 straight pitches. Let me make sure it's not us. I forget who's managing whom right now. So the computer's managing Philly. All right, here we go. Johnny Callison, 1 for 2. Last time up, solo bomb. Here's the pitch. 2-0 to Callison. This one liner to third, and Don Money will have it for out number 2. So Rick Wise gutting it out there. Philadelphia a little bit reticent to take him out. Wise pitching a good game today. Had a no-hitter, even a base hit. All right, Joe Pepitone with an RBI double back in the 5th, popped to second in the 7th. Wise deals 0-2 pitch. Pepitone, soft liner to third. And how about that? Rick Wise gets out. We go to the top of the 9th. We are still knotted at 4 here in Chicago. And it will be Boa. We'll see if Wise will hit for himself. And then Denny Doyle. Denny Doyle having a hell of a ball game here. Boa is 1 for 3 with a single. Fergie Jenkins into the line. 2-1 pitch to Boa. Grounded too short. Kessinger to his right. And across his body throw to Ernie Banks for the 6-3 putout. Rick Wise 1 for 3. And that will be it. Rick Wise will go back and pitch a damn fine ball game. Byron Brown will come in to pinch hit. And Byron Brown comes in and draws the walk. So let's look at Byron Brown here and his numbers on the season. And thus far, this is, let's see, he's 2 for 15 on the season thus far. All right, Denny Doyle, 3 for 4. Jenkins deals 1-1 pitch. Brown was off with the pitch. And ground ball base hit to Billy Williams. Up with it, and that's the 4th hit for Denny Doyle today. Don Money not having a shabby day either. He is 2 for 4 with an RBI back in the 2nd. 2 on for the Phillies, 1 away, top of the 9th. Breeden out to talk to Fergie, back behind the plate. Here's the delivery, line drive, base hit, and Brown will come in to score. Don Money with the RBI double, and Philadelphia back in the lead now in this seesaw game. It is 5-4. 2 in scoring position, 1 away. Willie Montanez up. Darren Johnson waits on deck. See what Fergie does here with first base open. A 1 pitch, and this one lined over second, and 2 runs score. Montanez with a 2 RBI single, and on the play, he's going to move to second. So how about it? Now it's turning into the corpulent lady warming up the pipes. Darren Johnson has struck out 4 times today against Fergie Jenkins. Montanez in scoring position, still one down. Philadelphia exploding for 3 runs here in the 9th. Here's the pitch. Nope, they're going to intentionally walk Johnson to set up the double play. Ron Stone has struck out 3 times today. Jenkins would like to put this in play just enough to get out of the inning, though. And does he do it? Kessinger steps on second, on to first to Banks. They do not get Stone, but they do get the second out. All right, so Stone ripping down the line there some. And brings up Roger Freed. He is 1 for 4, so Philadelphia not ready to hang him up just yet. Runners at the corners, 0-2 pitch. Fly ball center field. Pepitone back, has it for out number 3, but the Philadelphia Phillies with 3 runs and 3 hits and no errors. We go to the bottom of the 9th here in Chicago. Phillies lead the Cubs 7-4. And we will see Ernie Banks leading things off here. Ernie is 1 for 2 with a walk. Has an RBI single, scored Johnny Callison back in the 5th inning. Thanks for joining us tonight for some 1971 baseball here. Action PC Baseball. All right, on to pitch now is Bill Wilson. So Bill Wilson is 1-1 thus far in the season with 8 2/3 worked and ready to go. Count, 2 balls, no strikes. Banks sends this out to short right field. Roger Freed has it, 1 away. All right, Danny Breeden with an RB, or grounded into a double play, but Pepitone scored. Last time singled. So 1 for 3. And after all that, J.C. Martin is going to come in to pinch hit. And here's the lefty, swings on the 1-0 pitch. Grounder past Boa into left. So J.C. Martin is aboard. Let's look at his numbers really quickly on the season. So hitting .214 overall. Has himself 4 RBI. Okay. Fergie Jenkins, nothing for 3. Fergie will not bat for himself. Brock Davis will come in to pinch hit now. Mick F. says 1971 baseball, as Beatles calls it, modern baseball. Exactly. It is. It's modern baseball. This newfangled, get off my grass baseball. Here we go. Here's the pitch to Davis. Little bunt. Wilson up with it. Only play will be to first. So interesting play there by Chicago. So they get a runner in scoring position, but a little bit of a questionable call there. All right. They must have great faith in Don Kessinger, but he is nothing for 4. So he has grounded to short, grounded to second twice, and struck out. So I don't know, 1 out bunt. You're down 3 runs. I guess you're going to try to scratch something out. But here's the pitch. Full count. And look at me. What the hell do I know? All right, so base hit, but they stop Martin at third. So runners at the corners, and that would bring up Glenn Beckert. So, but even should Glenn Beckert could knock one out here and tie this game. However, we look at Beckert here. He does have a home run this season thus far. All right, runners at the corners, 2 down. And Bill Wilson working out of the stretch. Oh, wait. And Carver out to have a quick word. And here's the 1-1 pitch. And wow, what happens there? Wild pitch. A wild pitch. And the Chicago Cubs get one as J.C. Martin comes in to score. So Kessinger moves to second on the play. Getting interesting here. All right, Beckert steps out of the box. Kicks the dirt out of his spikes now back in there. Wilson peers in intently. McCarver with the sign. Wilson shaking him off. Now comes to the set. Checks Kessinger over his right shoulder. 2-1 pitch. And this should be the ball game. Boa to Johnson. And the Philadelphia Phillies break a 5-game losing streak. And the Chicago Cubs lose a 5-game winning streak. So Philadelphia will take this one. Let's look at our game recap. We'll get out of there. This is a fast broadcast for us, 1 hour and 5 minutes. Wow. Okay, for the Philadelphia Phillies, they improved to 8 wins and 12 losses, 7 runs and 12 hits, no errors. For the Chicago Cubs, they fall to 13 wins and 9 losses, 5 runs, 9 hits, and 1 error. Rick Wise gets the win. He goes to 2-1. Fergie Jenkins suffers his first defeat of the season. He will fall to 5-1. For the Chicago Cubs, Johnny Callison went to 3 with a home run. And for the Philadelphia Phillies, let's see. Denny Doyle, 4 for 5, 2 ribbies. Don Money, 3 for 5, 2 ribbies. Willie Montañez, 2 for 5 with a home run, 3 runs batted in. And of course, again, Wise pitching a hell of a game here. Long ball. So just 2 home runs in this game, but timely home runs they were. All right, let's have a look at pitching here really, really quickly. So Wise gets the win, as we said. 4 earned runs and 7 hits, a home run, 3 walks, and 5 strikeouts. He faced 33 batters. ERA at 3.48. Then Wilson came in, worked an inning, picked up the save with an earned run and an ERA of 3.72. So overall now, Philadelphia Phillies pitching staff at a 5.08 earned run average here. Okay. For today's game, I should say. Fergie Jenkins, 12 hits, 7 runs, 6 earned, gave up a home run, walked 2, fanned 10. So Fergie, ERA of 2.98. Going to be hard to pick who's going to be the most valuable player in this one. Good ball game. And they're going to give it to Denny Doyle. You know what? I have to agree. Really have to agree. So Denny Doyle extends that hitting streak. Let's jump out and let's autoplay the rest of this day. Cards and Dice are saying autoplay. Cards and Dice guys are autoplay. What the hell are you talking about? All right, Twins Red Sox, Perry versus Peters. Here we go. And this one is going to go to the Boston Red Sox, defeating the Twins 9-6 in 10 innings. Tatum gets the win. Peronoski takes the loss. Smith goes 4 for 5, including 3 home runs. Is that right? Am I reading that right? 3 home runs for Reggie Smith in this game. Holy moly. So Reggie Smith came to play ball today. How about that? Okay. Slugfest. So did he get the MVP of that game? Let me see. Yep. So 3 home runs for Reggie Smith for the 1971 Red Sox. All right, next up, the Orioles and the Royals, McNally and Bunker. So the Orioles right now at 9-11. Of course, they would face the Pittsburgh Pirates in the World Series in 1971. And Baltimore gets one back now. So they improved to 10-11. Kansas City. They defeat Kansas City 4-2. I'm sorry, Jackson with the win. Splitterf with the loss. Johnson 2 for 4, hitting his 3rd home run and a double. Padres and the Pirates. So the Pirates is 16-6. The Padres at 15-6. Kirby versus Moose. And here we go. And the Buccos blank the San Diego Padres 9-0. Moose goes to 3-0. Kirby falls to 3-2. Al Oliver had a good day, went 4 for 5 with a home run. And let's see what this 0 looked like. So this is a 4-hitter by Bob Moose. So great job. Great job there by Bob Moose, going the distance. All right. Next up, the game that we were going to play, New York Mets, Houston Astros. This is Tom Seaver, Larry Dierker. And the Astros edge the Mets in 12 innings. Culver with the win, Williams with the loss. Mets are 3 for 4 with a triple. All right. The New York Yankees and the Milwaukee Brewers, Bonson and Krause. Here we go. And this one goes to the Brewers 4-2. So the Brewers improved their record, and the Yankees, though, 13-6. Voss goes 2 for 4 with his 5th home run. Next up, the Indians and the A's. The Indians off to a not so good start. Dunning versus Diego Segui, and here we go. And Oakland edges Cleveland in this one. Rick Monday goes 2 for 4 with his 4th home run, 3 runs batted in. Dodgers and Braves, Osteen versus Stone. Here we go. And this one's the Braves, 8-2. Stone with the win, Osteen with the loss. And Allen goes 3 for 4, hitting home run number 8. Tigers and Angels. Here we go. 2 teams with winning records. And here we go. And it's going to be the Angels blanking the Tigers 3-0. Messer Smith with the win, Chance with the loss. Barry goes 1 for 2 with a double. Always love to check the 0 games. This was a 3-hit shutout. You don't want to miss any no hitters, right? You don't want to do that, or perfect games. All right. Giants and Reds. Giants, another team underperforming right now. The Reds sitting at 500. And continues. The woes continue as the Giants are blanked by the Cincinnati Reds 8-0. Gullett with the win, Robertson with the loss. May goes 1 for 3 with his 6th home run, 3 runs batted in, and just always paranoid missing a no hitter, 6-hitter that time. Okay. Finally, the White Sox and the Senators. The White Sox off to a 12-9 start. Make that 13-9. Tommy John gets the win. Denny McLain takes the loss. Bill Melton goes 1 for 4. We're going to take this up to tax day in April, or we're in May already. Good God. So let's go to May 15th and let's play through May 15th. Again, the goal here being is to play a few games, but to get to 1972. So let's let this play out. All right. Getting there, getting there, getting there. Just watching the horse race here and looking at the leaders for that year. And oh, boy, I'll tell you what, man. Okay, so Baltimore finally are 2 game above 500, but the Giants 9-18 right now, 7.5 out. So San Diego at the moment holding a 1 game lead over the Astros. Bucks 4 up on the Mets. So let's let her play out. Okay, Pittsburgh Pirates, first team to hit 20 wins. And we'll look at some league leaders and all that fun stuff. And then we're going to sign off. And there was much rejoicing for you Monty Python fans. There you go. All right. So now Oakland also at Oakland and Pittsburgh each 22 wins. Yankees now winning their 20th. Just looking for the dog fights here. National League West right now is a bit of a dog fight. San Francisco not really gaining any ground right now. Well, a little bit now. Now San Francisco trying to make a little comeback, and we are now at 15 May 1971, and we're going to knock out of here, and let's look at our standings here as they update. All right, so the Pittsburgh Pirates at 24 wins, 9 losses. Pirates with the best record right now in baseball. 6 games up on the New York Mets. Mets at 17-14, and the Cubs at 18-16. In the National League West, this one a little bit of a dogfight, I would say, between the Astros and the Padres. Houston a half game up on San Diego. Houston at 20-14. San Diego at 19-14, and the Atlanta Braves 18 wins, 16 losses. In the American League East, Detroit and the Yankees battling it out here. New York with a half game lead over the Detroit Tigers right now. May 15th, a lot of baseball to go, but the Yankees are 22-9 and Detroit at 22-10. And finally, in the American League West, the Oakland A's 24 wins, 13 losses thus far, and they are 3.5 up on the White Sox, who are 18-14, and Minnesota sitting there at 500. Yeah, let's look at some pitching leaders here. First batting. So Sal Bando still leading the league here, but again, we're just 37 in. So, but Sal Bando hitting 370. Actually, let's look at I like the other leaders one a little bit better. Let's look at this one. There we go. Nice, nice, nice. So let's. Willie Stargell does not have. We got to switch this to. Oh my God. There we go. We got to change this to replay stats. All right, here we go. So Sal Bando leading all of baseball. We're just going to do who's leading in baseball right now. We'll worry about leagues another night. Sal Bando leading with 12 home runs. Richie Hebner and Don Money each with 4 triples to lead the majors right now. Cesar Cedeno with 15 doubles. Sal Bando with 28 runs scored. Willie Mays has walked 22 times or 32 times, so leading baseball in walks. Willie Stargell, he could hit a ton, but he could strike out a lot too. So right now, sitting atop the majors with 41 strikeouts. Sal Bando and Bill Melton tied with 37 runs batted in. Bando with 50 hits. Bando also with, although it's a stat I really don't pay much attention to, total bases 96. Lou Brock 15 stolen bases, but Amos Otis and Freddie Patek of the Royals behind him at 14 and 12 respectively. On base percentage, Mike Andrews there with 468, and Sal Bando right now with a Ruthian 711 slugging percentage. Again, not going to look at the we're not going to look at any real deep. We're just going to do the basic stats for right now. Let's look at our pitching leaders here right now. So um, Bob Miller splitting his time between San Diego and Pittsburgh with 18, along with Pena with Washington. Innings pitched, Mickey Lalich, 94. Innings pitched. Complete games, Mickey has 7. Vita Blue, 9 wins. 9 wins. Mickey Lalich right behind him with 8. Doc Ellis with 7. We'll take that. Pittsburgh Pirates. Just showing the first 5 here, guys. Juan Marichal, this could be one of the problems for the Giants. 6 losses for Juan right now, along with McDowell and Patton and Bosman. So Upshaw, Lyle, Sanders, and Gladding, all with 7 saves. Shutouts, Doc Ellis has 4, leading the majors. Vita Blue has fan 73. Let me see. Bob Johnson has walked. Where's Bob Johnson? Bill Johnson. Anyhow, 36 walks. Denny McLain has given up 13 home runs. As far as best opponent average against, Mel Stottlemyre holding everybody just a 164, and then Bosman leading the majors in the dubious category of giving up the most hits, 89. So, of course, one of the new things that you can do, you can be tracking awards going all the way through now and stuff like that. These are all customizable things that you can do in Action PC Baseball, and that's it. So we're done. We are done for tonight. And just thank you everybody for coming in. This is always a lot of fun to hang out. And yeah. So to Mick here saying about playing some modern baseball, he's absolutely right. I don't know what these newfangled kids, what the next thing they're going to do, they're going to probably have something called the designated hitter, and then pitchers won't hit anymore. I don't know. This game isn't what it used to be, but anyhow, we'll put up with it. All right. Anyhow, thank you to McF, to David, Baseball Demos, to Mark. Also, I always enjoy talking to both of those guys. All you guys, man. You guys are amazing. We had a nice little history conversation here tonight. So, Aaron Reed, thank you. And again, God grant you many years. Happy birthday to Aaron Reed. We're still going to pretend it is his birthday, even though it was yesterday. To me, it's still today. Jeff Ray, thanks for coming in, buddy, as always. And Michael Fisher, newest family member, was here. And Dwayne Martz was the first one in the ballpark tonight. So that will do it here. I hope everybody, if you gloves, I know I could when they brought in gloves, Mick, I was ready to give up on the game. I mean, it was ridiculous. These kids having to put a slab of cow in their hands just to catch a ball. Why in my day? Anyhow. Till the next time, everybody, we'll see you around the batting cage. I wish you a good night. If you're somewhere tomorrow where the brutal cold is coming, stay warm. It's going to be cold for a little while. But remember, we're just over 3 weeks until pitchers and catchers report, and we're about 3 weeks away from the Super Bowl Sunday baseball spectacular. All right, see everybody around the batting cage.